All right. Welcome, you guys. It's me, Donovan Saadiq, the recovering Democrat. I am on YouTube Live, which I have to start using more. I kind of like this format. I just don't know how to work my green screen on it yet because I am so damn busy that I don't have time to really do what I need to do. Benny, no, come here. Dog's chasing the kid. Sit down. Come here. Sorry about that, you guys. Benny is, I need to give him some special attention, which I will do tomorrow, mañana. But a lot of stuff going on in politics. People are seeing what is being done in real time and still won't believe it. They're still not believing it. What I want to talk about, I have my friend John come over and install my a bracket to help me get the 75-inch TV up on the wall. And of course, it was a Black Friday sale from Walmart. Those Hisense TVs, the real cheap ones, they went for like 300 something bucks, $400 total when you done the tax. And of course, the screen was damaged. So I got to take it back tomorrow, which is no problem. John feels bad, but I said, dude, it was already damaged before I got it. You know, it's no big deal. So anyway, not going to really down Hisense because, you know, it's a quality TV for, you know, for it does what it's supposed to do. Benny, give me a second, you guys. Get over here and stay over here. Sit down. Sit down. You stay there. He thinks I'm playing with him. But anyway, boy pit bulls or something else, man. He has an independent streak, and I understand it being a male, but he's not like my last dog, Belle. Belle was a box tour, Boston Terrier, Boston mix. Benny has the same markings as her, which is one of the reasons I got him. It reminded me of her. And he was at the animal shelter. And of course, we have a death shelter. And so her death saved his life. So to honor her, I went and got him. And it's been hell ever since for me. So anyway, people are seeing what's happening in real time, and they just refuse to believe it, and they keep doing the same thing over and over again. What do I mean by that? What I mean by they're doing the same thing over and over again, they're still going to vote for the Democratic Party. There's no difference in these parties, no matter how you look at it. Oh, Donald Trump, he's insulting the Somalis, and oh, how he called them garbage and all this. So what? So what? As Black people, we've been called far worse. Far worse. And if you watched us today on the Dimitri K show, I reiterated to you guys, when a president is in his second term, all bets are off. He doesn't have to run for office again. He's done. Do you guys really think Donald Trump gives a damn what anybody thinks at this point? I don't think he does. He has nothing to lose. Well, what does he have to lose? He's a lame duck president in his second term. He has nothing to lose here. But everybody wants to be distracted. No Epstein files. The blacks are still at the bottom. We're doing a Venezuela thing, some kind of military action to on and on and on and on. MAGA this, MAGA that, MAGA, MAGA, MAGA. You know? Oh, hey, Miss Wright. That is really crazy to me. Still will vote for the Democratic Party. And you want to know why that is? Because Black people are brainwashed to be Democrats. It's no different than being loyal to the hood. You know what I mean? It's what you're exposed to. So if you're born, you know, it's like a religion. It's like a cult. So like I'm a Catholic, right? Even though I study other religions and I understand them, I am still a Catholic. I don't know why I'm a Catholic, other than my mother was a Catholic, her mother was a Catholic, so on, so on, so forth, right? My dad was a Methodist. How they got together, I don't know. But anyway. Exactly. When will we get enough of it? We won't. We are that far gone, Miss Shirley. We are that far gone. We are that far gone that Benny, get over here. Benny's following behind the cats, and the cats are getting him in trouble. That's the problem. That's the problem with him. He wants to do what the cats do. Cats are like women. They're independent. They do what they want to do. Dogs can't do that, right? So he's got to learn the hard way. But anyway, after all of this stuff that's going on, Donald Trump is going after illegals, African illegals, Asian illegals, Latin illegals, Somalis, whatever it takes. Have you guys noticed that Donald Trump hasn't gone after anything black other than his political black enemies like Letitia James, Fannie Willis, the dude in New York, Alvin, whatever his name is? Has Donald Trump done anything in regards to black people that is negative, that isn't normal, that America does to us? I would say by going after these groups, it's opening up job opportunities, even be it that they're entry-level jobs. 80,000 IRS agents were hired by the Biden administration. Benny! By the Biden administration to make sure you're paying every dime of the taxes you owe. But yet, there's no money for student loan debt forgiveness and all this other stuff that he promised. And all the black women, woo, yeah, we're the most educated. We're this, we're that, we're this. Who Dat Goat says 300,000 black women lost their jobs already. Yes, and when the government gets too big, it's eventually, they have to cut the fat. Right? This happened under Bill Clinton. How do you remember that? All the base closures in the 1990s. How many people remember that? And all of the federal employees that lost their jobs. But you also got to remember, out of that 300,000 black women that lost their jobs, a lot of that was DEI hire. And don't get me wrong, I feel bad for anybody who loses their job. But like what is going on today, not only the federal government is doing it, private corporations and private businesses have brought in AI. And we told you guys about this. Years ago, we were saying, this is what the future is going to bring if you guys do not go to your city council meetings and you don't stand up and make a stance. But no, you didn't want to do that. We were too busy smoking our weed, listening to our rap videos, popping our coochies, going on trips. 30 years of gentrification in Los Angeles. We were telling people they were public domaining people's homes for $250,000, $300,000. So they could build a SoFi stadium, a $6 billion stadium in the heart of the black neighborhood. Everything that Big Mama and Big Papa worked for went up in flames like that. Number one, because they had children that they didn't bother to teach financial responsibility and what needs to be done. The rise of black homelessness started happening almost 30 years ago. We did not pass on the knowledge of home ownership. So when Big Mama died, what's the first thing her kids did? Sold her house. All of those homes you saw in the movie Boys in the Hood, the Cracker Jack homes, all of those homes are over $1 million. They're worth over $1 million, and these Negroes were forced to sell for $250,000. And then what did they do with that money? Smoked it up, cracked it up, drank it up, lived it up. Who dat goat says, so you say don't vote Democrat? No, that ain't what I'm saying. I won't tell anybody how to vote because your interest and my interest are two different things. I'm going to tell you, vote your interest. If voting for the Democratic Party is financially beneficial for you and your family, you need to do that. You need to do that. Just because you're a black person doesn't mean you have to be a Democrat. That, you know, I've never been on that shtick. I've never been on that. If the Democrats are doing you great, continue to do that. But to continue to think that black people are a monolith, and we are one of the only groups that vote as a block. And we are the ones that decide if the Democrats get into power. That's the black vote that does that. But in the last election, 15% of the black vote did not vote for Kamala Harris. And a good portion of those black people that did not vote for Kamala Harris came from California. Why is that? Because they knew Kamala Harris's record. Nobody can still explain in her book, her autobiography, why she cosplayed a black woman as her grandmother. They're playing right in our faces, and people still don't believe it. Where's the outrage for that? But you're outraged because Donald Trump called countries shitholes, and he doesn't want Somalis here. You guys think Donald Trump gives a damn at this point? He's the lame duck president. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Who that goat says 300,000 women lost their jobs. Yes, they lost their jobs. And guess what? Not only did they lose their jobs because they believed into that feminism bullshit, they're going to be losing their homes too. Because wasn't it black women that were like, oh, we're the most educated? Yes, you're the most, which is a lie. Yeah, you have a lot of degrees compared to the black man, but you're also the most in debt. Do you see, for every positive that a black woman talks about, there's a negative to it. So yes, you have all these degrees, but you have all the debt too. So because you got a degree, you think that you deserve a higher earning man. There's not that many black men and men in general that make over six figures in the United States. The average black man makes $48,000 a year. 48,000. A lot of these women work for government municipalities. So let's say the federal government, like you were saying, who that goat, 300,000 black women lost their jobs. Guess what else they're about to lose? Their homes. Black women are the first to tell you, oh, we're more homeowners than black men. Yes, and you're also going to lose the home too. You're also the most in foreclosure. And I'm not here to dump on women. That ain't what I'm here to do. What I'm saying is our culture, we have to reevaluate what we're doing. Mo Perspective, my fellow airman, how are you? Dear self, good to see you. Yeah, either way, someone is going to make the policy. No, I'm not one of those don't vote channels. No. I think I'm a military veteran, and I'm one of those people. Have you ever seen the movie Starship Trooper, or have you ever read the book Starship Trooper? If you have, in the movie Starship Trooper, there were certain levels of citizenship. If you wanted full citizenship in the movie, you had to be a military veteran. You know, you had to have some skin in the game if you wanted to vote. If you're just a person that was just there to get the resources and just live, you don't make decisions when it comes to policy and stuff like that, voting. I'm one of those people that believe in stuff like that. I will never tell you not to vote. I believe it's your responsibility to vote for something. You can't tell me that, you're not for this and you're not for that, because if you don't participate, then shut the hell up. You have no right to say nothing because you're not doing anything. But if you do not vote as a strategy politically, I'm for that. And I know you're probably saying right now, well, that doesn't make sense. If you're politically involved and you're using not voting as a political weapon, I agree with that. But if you're one of those people, like Donald Trump said, that always comes in here and all you do is complain about this, complain about that, but yet you're on the government assistance, yet you're getting help from the government to do this, yet you want this, and yet if you're one of those people, I can't help you. And I would almost guarantee my fellow airman, Mo, will agree with me. If you're one of those people that just sit and complain and you don't put anything in the game, you're just a taker. There's givers and there's takers. If you're one of those people, it is what it is. Yeah. Are you one of those who don't feel? And Hudat says, I will never vote for the party of KKK. Right. The Democratic Party's military wing is the KKK. But at the same time, white supremacy is white supremacy. So it doesn't matter if it's the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, the Green Party, any party that is helmed by white supremacists or people that perceive to be as white, it isn't for black people. That's why I believe every black person should be independent. Let them work for both of our votes. Do you want to know why black people don't get anything from the Democratic Party? Is because they know that you're going to vote for them anyway. Again, we're seeing stuff that is happening right in our face, and we just don't believe it. Uptight 24, Shalom, FVB1 family. Yes, 100%. Uptight says, yeah, what's up with that trash Kamala book? And here's the thing. A lot of people didn't read the book because what these rich people do is they inflate the numbers of their book. So what they do is they put a book out and then they buy the book and throw it in a bunch of storage facilities. Then they go on a book tour and they give the books out for free. And it inflates their number to say, oh, I was #1 on the New York bestseller. No, you weren't. You bought your own book and you just put it in the storage facility and you're using it as a giveaway when you go on your book tour to talk about the book. Mo Perspective says, yes, they need a higher earning man to pay that student debt, Donovan. Yeah. Well, here's the problem with that. What man in his right mind will look at a woman and say, wow, you're $500,000 in debt. I really want to get with you. We look at debt as we look at anything in debt. It's like, that would be too much of a liability for me. Now, don't get me wrong. If you give me the cheeks, I'm going to take them. But wifing you up and getting involved in that financial situation, can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry. Oh, you said a good man. A good man. Mo, I can't win with you at all. I cannot win with you at all. You women stick together, be it feminism or just being women in general. You guys will stick together. Q, PP9VV, and sadly, the degree earned them a seat at the table, but they didn't own the table. Well, there's something that Malcolm X said. Remember this saying? I know a lot of you guys have heard Malcolm X say. I have all his stuff on DVD and stuff. Oh, and by the way, commercial break. I just got today, or yesterday, this. I met the Biz Marquee in Florida when I was working part-time with the airlines, and I put him on, I didn't make a lot of fanfare. When you're from California, Mo will tell you this, we see stars all the time, so we aren't really starstruck like that. I see him sitting down, I call him up, and I'm an assistant manager. I call him up, I look at his ticket, I tell my gate agent to upgrade his ticket. She was like, well, why? I said, don't even worry about it. Upgrade this man's ticket. And it's the Biz Marquee, the Diabolical. And I'm telling you, one of hip-hop pioneers, if you guys don't know who this is the Best Of, Cold Chillin', which is his record company. And it's got all the hits on here. Just a Friend, the Biz Dance, the Vapors, all of the great stuff. If you guys know, I collect a lot of music. And I'm a big music connoisseur. And it's spring again. Young Girl Blues. I mean, all the great hits here. I just got it today. I just digitized it. So I'll put it in my collection on my phone and deal with it. If you guys, especially you younger people, if you don't know who the Biz Markie is, go check his stuff out. Him, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, and Polo. They were all Roxanne Shante. They were all, oh man, it was unbelievable back in the days. So anyway, Biz Markie, get a lot of his stuff. May he rest in peace. May he rest in peace. Laverne Mitchell, good to see you. Black American Expat Podcast, welcome. The Diabolical Biz Markie, yes. If you guys don't know, a hip hop legend. So anyway, so here we are. We are coming up on the midterms, and people are suffering left and right. Everybody's suffering. The Hispanics are mad. Africans are mad. The Somalis are mad. Even MAGA is mad at each other. There's a MAGA civil war going on. And at the end of the day, do you guys actually think putting the Democrats back in power, which is totally propaganda, that the MSDNC and all these CNN, they talk about, how Americans are saying that, this, that. How is that going to change anything by putting the very party that was in power, that put us more into a deficit and more with this immigration stuff that has affected Black people more than the Republicans? And I'm talking about at the local level. Too many of you guys are concerned about the federal level. Oh, Trump. What affects you is what happens at the local level. Democratic policy is detrimental to Black people. And I'm talking about FBA. I live in the state of California, and we're a super democratic state. How come we don't have reparations here? But you could fund illegal immigrants and give them housing, food, and a debit card to spend. But when it comes to Americans and veteran Americans, we need to study. Black Americans, we need to study. So putting the Democrats back in power, the very group that flooded your communities with these people that are causing problems in your community. And what I mean by problems is diverting resources that were supposed to be for you is now going to them. And we're going to put them back in power? I think we need more Republican rule for a while to right the ship. Yes, Anita, I am up late. How are the girls doing? Black American Expat Podcast. I've been out the country the last 11 years, and I sat on the couch the last 2 elections. Yeah, expat. I head to the DR a lot, and I try to get out of here as much as I can, but I'm kind of stuck in California because I own my home. And that's the whole point of it, right? You got to, you work hard, you want to enjoy it. And I'm in Southern California. It is what it is. And speaking of homes, on Demetra K's show, I brought up the fact of why do you think the Republicans and Donald Trump are bringing up, and even some Democrats, Nancy Pelosi and all these other people are bringing up the fact of getting rid of property tax. Why do you think they're doing that? Why did you think that would come up? Because think about it, and and it's unfortunate. A lot of us are not homeowners, and when you're not a homeowner, you don't understand. They want to get rid of property tax. Now, who would be against that idea? I wouldn't be against it, because think about this: you buy your home, you pay it off. Let's say you paid in 15 years, right? The average mortgage is what, 30-year mortgage? And you usually start the median age people buy a house is in their 40s. So you finally pay off your house in half the time, but you still got to pay property tax. Property tax here in California is $2,200 a year right now and goes up, right? God forbid you upgrade your home. It's going to go up even more as they, look at your home and say, oh, the value of the home, you know what I mean? So, so 2,200, so that's another, what, $22,000? So basically what I'm saying is you're paying more for the home right now. Now, let's say you just stop paying your property tax. I think here in California, it's a 5-year thing, and then they could come and take the land because you don't own the land. So they're basically strong-arming you to continue to pay for something that you never really own because the land is not yours. So because your house is on the land and you don't pay the property tax, even though you pay for the house, they could take everything from you. Who would be against that? But then again, you got to look at this. 70 to 80% of all local taxes is paid for by property tax. But let's look at it again. If my children are grown, why am I still paying taxes toward a school that my children do not participate in? So who would be against that? Remember when Donald Trump was debating Hillary Clinton and Hillary Clinton alleged that he didn't pay any taxes? And he said, that's because I'm smart. That was a smart thing for him to say. Because you are smart if you don't pay taxes. So I'll give you a good example. I'm a veteran. And remember we talked about Starship Troopers, right? Because I'm a veteran, I am exempt from property tax in the state of California because of my service. So remember I was telling you in Starship Troopers, you had different levels of citizenship. I'm a full citizen, so I shouldn't have to pay property tax. And here in California, that is actually a law. You don't have to pay property tax once you apply for it and you're a veteran and all this other stuff like that. And a lot of veterans didn't know that. So I understand people who don't want to join the military because it's not for everybody. But if you want full citizenship, there are things in the military that's very advantageous to you. Military wasn't my career choice either, but it's benefited me significantly. But here's why I think they want to bring up the property tax and change the law. Because as more and more immigrants come here and the browning of America takes place, what do you think is going to happen to the law if they don't change it and we keep the law that we have right now? By legal definition, they could be sued for the property that they have. Let's say the reparations. Let's say just somebody just says, hey, this person got wealthy off of slavery, and they could lose all their property. So what they're doing is this. They're saying, let's change the law now. And I'm speculating. Let's change the law now so that we could have the land indefinitely for generations to come. This is why this idea, I think, is being floated out there. Because as a homeowner, I'm thinking, yeah, that's a great idea, right? But that would give perpetual ownership of stolen property to the thieves. Maybe I think too much, but I am a homeowner. And though I would not like to pay property tax, I don't think it is in good standing to let stolen land continue to be stolen. And that's my thing on that. The Black Expat says, yeah, the Vapors was my jam. Yeah, that was the cut. Dude, he cut the Vapors. Dude. Anyway, I'll give you a start on that. Local elections are more important for us as a community. It's always been more important. It's always been more important. I'll give you an example. In my city, you had a lot of rich white people that lived out here. When the LA folks started migrating out here, remember this thing, even in the 60s, it was called white flight. When white people started fleeing the suburbs, what happened to the suburbs? When they started fleeing the inner city first, what happened to the inner city? Became a ghetto. Now they're fleeing the suburbs. What's happening to the suburbs? When white people flee, there is a significant amount of money that the city depends on that is now gone because white people usually own the businesses. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying what it is. Right? Uptight says, I'm in Little Rock, California. I watched those shin bones in Sacramento sell FBA out. Yes, they did. Absolutely. Anita says, the girls are good. I need to get like the Black American Expat podcast. Yes. Anita, you need to get out there. If you haven't started your own podcast already and get that knowledge out there. There's a lot of mothers out there that don't know how to be moms, especially if they have special needs children. They don't know what they're doing. They're relying on the government to tell them what they need to do. And I hate when you're talking to a person of authority, be it a doctor, be it whatever, and they're talking into you, doctor speak or legalese or pilot speak, and people just nod, like they understand, and they really don't understand. So we need more people like you. Uptight 24, Donovan, I pray you are 100% P&T, no property tax. I am 100% all the way, and I am very blessed, and I'm a military brat, so I was kind of already hipped to what is going on. My mom being in the Army, my dad being a Marine, and I joined the Air Force. You can see the correlation of what happened, right? Anita says, here's an odd question. If there is no property tax, then what happens to the homes that goes up for tax liens and or tax deeds? That's a good question, and that's something that they would have to work out. But if there's no property tax, you wouldn't have sheriff sales. You wouldn't have homes that would be in those situations. But I would think that if homes are already in that situation and the people already lost them, it would become government property, and the government would put them up for sale. That's what I think would happen. They put it like they've already been doing. They just put them back up for sale. Laverne Mitchell says, they'll surely take it. Exactly. Mo says, or paying taxes for a home or car that's paid off. Yeah, think about it. Logically, that doesn't make sense. Why am I continuing to pay for something that I've already paid off? It's almost like you're penalizing me because my kids aren't in the school, so I'm not benefiting anything by paying this tax. You're just taking money from me for no reason at all. Right? So Uptight says it's the Nabisco's tax Ponzi. Yeah, exactly. Whenever you sell your house, you'll be a millionaire. Yeah, but I'm never going to sell. See, and that's another thing. We got to get out of the mindset of selling. What does $1 million do in California? Nothing. If I sold my house for $1 million here, I would take a loss. Where would I live? Where would I live in California? Once you sell your house here in California, unless you are already a millionaire, you can't live here. And that's what's happening to a lot of Black people. We're being economically pushed out of California because these dumb Negroes selling their house, right? Oh, I got $600,000 for my house. Where are you going to get a house with $600,000? The median house of a house in California, as you know, is $800,000 in California. Oh, I'll just move to Texas. A lot of Californians have moved to Texas and have raised the prices over there. $600,000 is nothing. So, okay, let's say you go to Texas and you buy a house there. You still got to furnish the house. You still got things, you got to pay for outside of the house. So what, you got $100,000 in the bank after everything that you've done is done. How far is $100,000 going to do? You got to go get another job. Yes. Salute to my fellow veterans. And here's the thing I like about my fellow veterans. you could be totally wrong in everything that you are saying and doing. But for the simple fact that you put on the uniform, picked up a rifle, I'm going to respect what you have to say, even though it is wrong, because you answered the call and you defended this country. You have more, to me, another level of citizenship. You have more right to say dumb shit like I do than anybody else. When I come on here and I talk and stuff, and I piss some people off, maybe a lot of people off, I don't give a damn, because I earned the right to say what I say. Everybody else has the right because of us veterans. They didn't earn it. We earned it. So I'm going to say what I got to say. It said, what did she say? Hold on. This thing's jumping up on me. Oh, Uptight says, nah, you have to be 100% P&T to get the exemption from property tax. Yeah, you got to be 100%. I'm 100%, yeah. Matter of fact, I'm 460% because I've got arthritis in all my joints. I got a skin condition, and I'm all messed up, right? Anita says, I tried to join the military. My ex-husband's paperwork didn't clear. Black America Expat says, I might use my VA loan and buy a house and rent it out on Airbnb. You know what, expat? I was in the DR, and they were, and you know how they try to sell you these condos and stuff. They want you to buy, in the DR and all these places they want you to buy. It's sad that we can't use our VA in these other countries, because then, you know what, those countries will boom in housing, because, a lot of us being overseas, we would go, we'd be gone. I'd be out of here, and I could get me a nice villa, right? So anyway, they need to change that law. But what about those expats that are Panamanians, Dominicans, Filipinos, and they're in their home country? Why can't they use their VA home loan in those countries? It's kind of sad. Right now we can only use it in the United States, and all it takes is somebody to change the law and propose the new change. But I haven't used my VA home loan at all myself, so I can still use that. And I was suggesting doing that and then selling my home, and then going over there, taking the cash and going over there and buying property over there. Because this house here is paid for, but go get another home with my VA loan, do it for a year or two, whatever, pay it off, or sell it after the equity and stuff, and then go. So that's something to think about. Laverne says, Anita says, I was on a podcast. I was on the Badass Autism Mom podcast. I was a guest. Yeah, I remember. Don't think I don't be listening and following you. I really don't podcast. I had a larger channel and it got deleted due to a hater. This is just a backup channel I use until I get my account back. Yeah, I usually, I like podcasting because nobody wants to see my ugly face. Nobody wants to see me, whatever. But, to hear my voice and talk, I think it's easier to do it because I could just use my phone and I could do it anywhere, So Uptight says, it's about creating generational wealth, living in my mom's house who passed. Exactly. This home that I live in, Uptight, is my childhood home. This is the first home my mom bought after my father passed away. And because I was stationed at the base over here, I so happened to be stationed at the base, it only made sense for me to just, move into the home here, do what I got to do all the upgrades and stuff. And, it's a family home, but, I live here. So it's, it's basically my home. My mom's got her house, my brother's got his house, and I just happen to live here. So, and take care of all the, stuff here. And if you've been to my house, I mean, it's an upgrade. I mean, it's a real house. It's real wood in here. It's not cheap. It's real. I have, anything that I do in this house is special order because it's on the old code, not the new code. If I had a house to sell, I would then be out of America. Yeah, and I understand that. Like I said, you got to do what's best for you. People always ask me, why do I go to the DR a lot? And Anita will tell you, I go to the DR a lot because my dollar goes longer. But I still want a footprint here in the United States. But, you know, I got out of the renting here in the United States because people in the United States don't give a damn. Renters have more rights than the damn owners, especially here in California. You know, so Uptight says, shit, Donovan, I'm working on updating my 20%, 22 years served. Oh my God, you're getting 22%? Jeez. Anything you think of, put it down. ED, erectile dysfunction. Don't let your pride get into all of that. If you have eczema, if you have arthritis, I don't know how arthritis is military related, but file for it. You have any kind of skin conditions. What else? Of course, you're going to get your tinnitus. What else can you get? 60% of my stuff I got on skin alone when I was in the desert. Gosh, think of anything you can get. So, what do you think about the 15-minute cities, Donovan? I haven't heard of that. What is the 15-minute cities? Anita says, yes, you do travel quite a bit. Yes, I do. Uptight. March Air Force Base is where I retired. This is where I retired too, 4th Air Force. KC-135 crew chief, 2003. Oh, wow. I was a KC-10 crew chief. 1993 is when I left being a crew chief, and I got a commission, and I started flying C-130s out of Alaska. So did that. Wow, 20%. Yes. Whatever you do, and I'm going to say this to my veterans, and I say it all the time. Do you guys realize Black veterans from the beginning of the VA system? So my grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, he never used his VA benefits, not because he didn't want to use them. They were discouraged to use them, right? It was too much of a hassle, too much racism, the KKK, my grandfather's from the South, and all this other stuff, right? Intimidation, all this other stuff. While the white boys were getting those suburban homes and all that other stuff, homes in the suburbs and all that great stuff, right? The blacks were doing that, right? In our community, being matriarchal, we have too many women that are telling their sons to sit down rather than to stand up. And that's a problem, because men are supposed to protect and provide and do what a man is supposed to do. But too many of our, not my baby, I don't want my baby getting hurt, whatever. And I used to have a problem with my mom always telling me. She didn't stop me from doing what I wanted to do, but she subliminally would tell me things that was like, sit down, let that go. Don't do this, don't do that. Well, God damn it. If a man can't stand up for something, you're going to fall for everything, right? And we have too much of that going on in our community. So what I mean when I say that is this: that same attitude is projected in our younger generations in regards to our benefits. We know the system is designed to say no, but that doesn't give you the right to just let it go. Some of you guys do. Think about all the money that is on the table. Do you guys know that it is projected that Black people have, in the VA system, have left almost $500 billion in benefits sitting on the table? I don't want to be bothered. I'd rather leave. Oh, okay. You say no, I'll just take my 20 and leave it at that. But they don't realize as they age, you got the 20% initially, but as you age, your condition might be aggravated. You might need to go and reapply for something else, whatever that might be, military related. Black people are the least likely to use their military benefits. Just a fact. I got out with 80% and got the other 20 along the way. Yeah, when I retired, immediately got the 80%. Immediately. PTSD for what's his name too. PTSD, put in for that. And here's the thing too. I have friends that would file for military disability, claim injuries. Then they would show up at their initial interview or whatever you call that initial thing. I can't remember what it's called. They would show up in their nice car. They would get out of the car in their nice Nike gym outfit, nice and yoked, nice and strong, good, nice, clean clothes, nice gym outfit. They look totally fit. Walk into the interview, the P&T, and then they wonder why they got denied. They might have got a rating of 0, but they didn't get anything. Yeah, the P&T exam, the physical, I forgot what it's called, the P&T, but that's what I'm talking about. You got to play the game. You don't walk into your P&T exam physically fit. You walk in there disheveled. You walk in there, you got to play the game. You stay up the night before and you drink coffee to where you're just out of it. Because the minute you get out of that car, they're looking at you. They're evaluating you. The minute you sit down in that interview, they're evaluating you. And I'm not telling anybody to do anything shysty, if you know what I mean. I'm not advocating that at all. But I am advocating you have to play the game the way the game is dictated for you to play it. I'm not saying show up in dirty clothes. I'm not saying that. But if you're going to show up at a P&T exam fully functional, what's the point? Are you guys following me? What's the point? You're nice and shaved and everything. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You got to play the game. The way that math, the VA math, it took me years to get the other 20%. I was so confused at first. Yeah, okay, when I got out, it was 80%. It took me over 6 years to get the other 20. But when I got that check, I was very appreciative. But expats, you got to remember, a lot of the lawyers that you have to get that extra 20%, they're the ones that really extend the time to get that extra 20% because their cut of that percentage is bigger if they extend it longer. You know what I mean? So the lawyers are part of the problem too. I'm very sure I could have got that 20% in half the time that I should have. But, these lawyers, we're going to extend it. Oh, we're going to continue it. Don't worry about it. So they can get their cut. So we got to give them their grace. But I do believe that is a big part of the problem of why it takes so damn long, because the lawyers want to make sure that they get their fair cut, I guess. Man, they should have gone in there on a cane and showed up in an Uber. Exactly. See, that's what I'm saying. But see, unfortunately, we don't pass this knowledge down to the younger generation. Right here in California, I'm going to tell you guys this. Right here in California, when I go to March Air Reserve Base, back when I was at March, it used to be mostly black and white. Right? That's just how it was. You had a few Hispanics in there, maybe a few Asians, but it was very rare. You saw it. Now all you see is Hispanics and Asians. And I'm going to tell you what the Asians are doing. These Asians are joining the Air National Guard, Air Force Reserves, young guys, right? They're 20, 19, becoming veterans, doing 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year. They do it for 4 years. While they're there, they're building up their time and stuff. They have no intentions of making it a career. Doing their 1 week in a month, becoming full citizens, immediately getting their home guarantee loan with their nice little young wives, getting their first starter home, right? Going to college, getting all that stuff done. Then they get out. Of course, while they're in, they're getting their 20%, whatever that level is to do it. But that's how they're getting their homes. You look at us black folks, the younger black folks, you got 4 of them in a damn studio apartment smoking weed all damn day. And I'm not trying to generalize, but I'm just saying. And when you talk to them, you say, well, why don't you do this? Well, I'm saving up for a house. Do you realize it's going to take you 15 to 20 years to save up enough for a down payment? That's how ignorant we are, because we're not giving them the information. And we're telling these kids who come from nothing to not use a resource that is there. Expat, Anita, Mo, all of you guys that are veterans. I joined the military 2 days out of high school. I was 17 years old. My mom had to sign me in. My original goal was to do 4 years. I would have been 21 and done. What is 4 years for somebody coming straight out of high school? I'm still in my early 20s. But this is what the Asians are doing. And the Hispanics are now doing it. We're not doing it. No, I can't join no white man's military, whatever. But you ain't got shit to start with. You don't have shit. You're coming from shit, which is the reason why you should join the military so you can get something. But we don't pass that knowledge down. Man, they should have gone in there. Yeah, exactly. Don Poison says, nah, man, I refuse to be one of the attack dogs for this imperialist hegemon. And, that's your right and stuff. But guess what? Somebody's got to defend this country. Somebody's got to defend the country. So what are you going to do now that those very imperialists are here and we've got enemies behind our lines? What are you going to do then? When they kick in your door, what are you going to do then? At least with my fellow veterans, with what we were taught in the military, I can tell them, I need to do a flanking maneuver over here. Do you even know what a flanking maneuver is? I'm not trying to insult your intelligence, but what I'm saying is a lot of civilians don't know the terminology, even what that means. We could take what the white man teaches you in the military and use it for our own benefit in our own communities. Every time I go to the shooting range, I never see a lot of black people up there. I might see 4 or 5 of us, but I see a lot of Hispanics and Asians up there. But you got these young little ninjas running around here with guns that are half-ass fixed and thinking that they could just shoot somebody because they're pointing the gun that way. I've seen so many gun battles where the person is right there in front of them and the person did not shoot a deadly shot. They maybe shot the person, but the person is still functioning. This is the type of stuff that I'm talking about. You take the training that they give you. I mean, you're in a white society. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I understand you don't want to be used as an attack dog, but you're still in an imperialistic system. You're still in it. So if you're going to be in it, shouldn't you benefit from it? I think you should. Uptight says, I can't wait for my P&T. I'll be looking like Fred G. Samp. Exactly. Don't get no haircut. Let your shit grow on uneven. Play the game. That is the whole thing. Play the game. And again, when you get 100%, you get your ID card back. You get to travel on Space A. You get access to the base again. 30% is the magic number for your spouse if you have a spouse and children. Like I said, Don Poison, I'm not knocking your hustle. Maybe you're one of the blessed people out there that don't have to do what you got to do. But the majority of the black people ain't got shit. I'm just telling you how to get it. Do you know one of the worst things you can get in America that will ruin your life is not a jail sentence. Being a felon is not the worst thing you could be in the United States. Do you know what's worse than being a felon? Is being a dishonored military member. That is the worst thing you can get because that goes with you your whole life, for the rest of your life. Because the felon, if you're an ex-felon, there's companies that are incentivized to hire felons, right? And I've got, felons in my family. Some of these guys had some great jobs, all because they were former felons. But if you're a dishonored military member, nobody wants to fuck with you. Nobody. Again, different levels of citizenship. Expat says, I joined in the 11th grade, was in ROTC and did the delay option program. Yeah. I mean, again, there's a lot to it. But again, Uncle Rufus from the Vietnam era who probably couldn't take orders from people and, probably had a bad experience. These are the type of guys that be like, hey, man, don't be joining the white man's military, whatever it is. Oh, well, Muhammad Ali. That's a different scenario. Muhammad Ali was the world boxing champion. Total different scenario. But again, everybody has to make their own stance. I'm not against anybody making their stance. Jason Black did a broadcast with that said 6 figures is the new poverty. So it's going to take them forever to save for a home. Exactly. Why do it that way, right, Anita? When you can do 4 years of your life, become a veteran, get all of these great benefits that nobody talks about. Because again, when you find a gold mine, you don't tell anybody about it. How do you think these white boys that you grew up with are going on and look at the connections you make while you're in the military? You might be the crew chief, the mechanic of Air Force One, Marine One. Some of these generals and colonels that you fly with or you're associated with and these senior NCOs, I have a senior NCO guy that I went to school with. He was a senior NCO, a chief. This dude makes more money because of the connections that he had throughout the military. But here we are, man. I'm smoking some weed, man. I can't serve. I can't be in no white man's army. But you're living on the streets in poverty, or you're in a forever apartment. And I'm not downing it. What I'm saying is we got to be smarter about what are we going to pass to the next generation? What knowledge are we passing? 2008, do you guys realize Black people have not recovered from all of the third of the wealth that was taken in 2008 under Obama? Do you guys realize that? We haven't even recovered from that. Your boy Joe Biden is going after Black people who took advantage of the PPP loans. Explain that. How are we going to get to the bag? How are we going to get to the money if they're laying off educated Black women in $400,000 layoffs overnight, just like that for AI? So how are we going to get to the bag, y'all? How are you going to do it? And again, those of us that don't know what we're talking about, not everybody in the military sees combat. We don't take people who have engineering degrees and we say, here's a gun, go and fight. That person's too valuable. We need them to go fix shit and invent shit. When was the last time the Navy got into a naval engagement? The only people in the Navy that do fighting are the pilots that do basic bombing and the Navy SEALs. How many people are Navy SEALs? Not very many. Air Force. How many people in the Air Force actually do combat? Not very many. Now, the Army, different situation. The Marine Corps, a self unit. They have their own Air Force, they have their own infantry, they have their own special forces. The Marine Corps is a distinct entity within itself. But see, these movies and what people think and what Uncle Rufus told them about the military, people aren't antiquating it to the current times and technology. Most people in the military do not fight in combat. But yet we're telling our kids who come from nothing because we didn't leave them shit. Let's be real about that. Let's be real. Most of us that come from the hood, you come from public housing, you don't own that shit. So what legacy have you left your children? The kid has no chance of doing anything other than getting into debt. Yeah, son, go to college. If you go to college, that's one of the biggest lies ever told to the Black community. You get a degree, you're going to get a job. I got 12 of them. Explain it to me. I got 12 degrees. Ain't nobody knocking on my door. Ain't nobody. And if they do knock on my door, they don't want to pay me what I'm worth. Think about it. Right? So, again, like I said, the military isn't for everyone. I will never tell somebody to join the military and then fuck their life up even worse because they can't follow orders, whatever. You know, the military is a conservative organization, but there's so many benefits to it. It's a faster way to wealth. Why do you guys think a lot of these foreigners come to this country and they join the military? Number one, it's a quicker pathway to citizenship. The military did it again. Look at all of these things the military can do for a person if they know what they're doing. Expat says, joined the National Guard in 11th grade and did basic reserves in the 12th grade and was already prior service when I graduated and went full-time active. Exactly. And if I knew what I know about the reserves now and the art program and what's that, the AGR and all that other stuff, I would have gone reserve. But I did do active reserve. So I was an active duty person in a reserve flying unit. So you know how that works. Laverne says, my nephew is refused disability with back issues from service. Thanks, Donovan. I'll pass the information on. Laverne, see, here's the problem. The system is designed to say no. And what do Negroes do when masters tells them no? Yeah, mister. All right, master, I'll go away. I'll stay over here, master. No problem. You said no. Okay, master, I'm good. I'm good over here, master. No. You don't take no. You appeal. You keep appealing. You keep appealing. They want you to go away. Or if they give you a percentage, and you ask any veteran in this chat, if they give you a percentage, they hope you are happy with that. If I could give you 40%, I really don't want to give you 30 because 30 is the magic number. If I could give you 20% and you go away for 15 years, who wins? I would rather give you 20 than give you 100. See what I'm saying? This is what they do. And because the matriarchy in our society, in our community, I don't want nothing to happen to my baby, baby. I don't want to, no, it's no big deal, baby. Just go away. It's all right. We will take care of it. Take care of it to do what? Laverne, you could never recover from a back injury. You will never recover from a back injury. Ever. You get your nephew and have him go and appeal whatever that is. Anita says, that is true. My brother was dishonorably discharged and he's over in Germany because he couldn't do anything stateside. Exactly. Getting a dishonorable discharge is worse than being a felon. So I would never tell somebody to join the military that can't humble themselves and follow orders. The military is basically based on slavery. You do what I say because I said so. I got the stripes. I got the bars. You play the game. You play the game. It's as simple as that. Do you know if you're a veteran and you get in trouble in your civilian world, there are things known as veterans courts? Yeah, well, Your Honor, I'm smoking weed because I have a military-related situation, blah, 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 blah. But whatever the situation, I'm just making stuff up. Blah, 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 right? Oh, well, you don't need to be in this court. We need to send you to veterans court. That way we have a better understanding of what your situation is. How do you tell young people not to join the military if that's what they want to do to better their situation? How do you tell Black people not to join the military if that is the fastest way to home ownership? What? Play the lottery? What are we doing here? What are we going to pass on to the next generation? What knowledge can we give them? Expat says, my goal was to retire or be semi-retired before my mid-40s, and I did it before that time. I retired at 42, 24 years service. 42. 2012, and I never looked back. I've never looked back. Don Poison says, I disconnected from whole system, which is voluntary. Yeah. And Yahweh told me to come out of her and be not a partake of her plagues. I'm good. Obedience is better than a sacrifice. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If God told you that, who am I to go against that? Like I tell you, these feminists, who are you guys to go against what God set up? So who am I to tell you to go against what God told you to do? Again, we're not a monolith. Like I said, it's not for everybody. But again, those of us that have nephews, nieces that want to join the military, we shouldn't discourage that. Now, I wouldn't want to tell my nephew, yeah, join the infantry, here's a gun, shoot that way, just point. No, I would tell them, hey, you want to be in the military, be an engineer, be a pilot, be an astronaut, do this. Civil engineering, be electrician, be the, you know what I mean? I would tell them to get a skill. How many of you guys know the biggest vocation school in the world is the military? And it's the most successful. How many of you guys know that? A lot of people come out of the military because they have a good vocation. Where do you think most of your firefighters in the United States come from? The military. Most of your pilots, the military. A lot of your building contractors and stuff, the military. They get their start in the military. How do we tell our children that have no future with AI not to go to the military when there's no other option? Listen to what I just said. When there's no other option. Everybody's got a degree. I got 12. Everybody's got a degree. During the pandemic, who was working? Who was working? You beauticians, the mechanics, the construction guys. Damn, be sick. They're working. But look at all the people that were educated. Go sit your ass at home. And a lot of them got replaced by AI. Thus, 300,000, 400,000 Black women just lost their jobs. But guess what else they lost? They're going to be losing their homes because they don't have the money to pay that damn mortgage because they didn't need no man 2 times. So, again, we really got to reprogram what we're going to do. I'm still trying to get there, maybe by 60 at this point. Yeah. Anita. Didn't want to be like my dad who's in his 70s with Social Security and working 2 jobs. Yeah. And how many of you guys know if you're 100% disabled as a military member, you can pull your Social Security earlier than 62. How many of you guys know that? Because we are a special category. Again, knowledge. Uptight says, shit, when I worked as an A&P at American at LAX, I ran into my commander of the KC-135 squadron. He was flying for Eagle. Exactly. Look at these people. When I was stationed in Alaska with the Alaska Air National Guard, I was flying with the chief pilot of American Airlines. He was part of my unit. Connections. And remember, jobs are about relationships. I had a buddy that called me. He was in Saudi Arabia. He offered me a 1-year contract, fully furnished. And you guys that know about those contracts out there with Boeing and all that other stuff, those contractors. He wanted me to go out there to be an airfield manager, operations manager for $150,000. I said, absolutely not. He says, come on, man, and the reason why he called me is because we were in the military together. And he knew that I know my shit. It's about relationships. He wanted me there because I know operations and I'm really good at it. I can say that, right? I am good at it. I like it. So if I'm taking care of operations, he could go to the meetings. All I got to do to go to him and say, here, this is what I need. Boom, 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 boom. He trusted me enough because we had that relationship where he knew if I told him something, hey, personal relationship, I know this guy. This guy is going to, he's not going to make me look bad. I'm going to take care of him. I told him I will take the job for $250,000. He said he doesn't do the negotiations. I said, yeah, you do. He said, get in there and then negotiate. I said, no. Because once I sign that contract, it's an ironclad contract. I want my money up front. And even to this day, he respected my game and he still calls me for jobs. And I said, no, I'm not coming out until $250,000. That's it. Just pay the money. If I was a white boy, you'd pay it. Anita's talking about, I'm trying to not do that myself by the way this economy is set up. My God. Anita says, I already told my daughter if she wanted to go to college, we are going to college overseas where I can afford it. Exactly. Or have the military pay for it. I went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University when the military only paid 75%. I owed still about $100,000 when I left the military. I was paying the bare minimum, right? Like most people do. You pay the bare minimum, right? Got to 100%. Guess what? If you're 100% military rated, your student loan is wiped away. So sisters, if you're listening to me, if you are 100% rated military disabled, your debt is wiped away. How many of you guys know that? Wow, the military is so terrible. There's nothing to the military. The white man's military. You just can't get anything out of the military. Wow. Did you use your vocational rehab? I did. I used my vocational rehab. My rep called me and he said, Donovan, come and get this money. And I went and I said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I'll just do management or something like that, right? So I got into the management part of it and I went and got a degree. And I did the voc rehab. And again, let's talk about voc rehab for those, since the military doesn't do nothing for nobody. Voc rehab has people re-educate themselves, right? I'm just going to talk about the aspects of voc rehab. So I went back to college, right? They gave me a computer, school supplies, backpack, whatever I needed to be successful. They sure did. They sure did. But the military doesn't do anything for anybody. Don Passon, what would it profit a man if he gained the whole world but lose his soul? Or what would a man be executing his soul? Yeah, you actually already have the right to rule the earth. Own your identity. Exactly. No, like I said, there's no argument there. If that's the stance you're going to take, I respect it. Rest in peace, Combat Craig. He was a vlogger who helped a lot of veterans. Yeah, I heard of him. Uptight says, Anita Howard, have your daughters split the difference by going to a JCO. Yeah. Another thing, Anita, is join the ROTC program while she's in college. All she's got to do is join the program and they will pay for her education. She just has to give them 6 to 8 years of her life. And then she comes in as an officer right off the top. So if it's about the education, explain this to me, you guys. Why is it we have no fear in taking on all of this tremendous debt? We'll sign the papers like that. But yet, to sign the papers, to have the government pay for your education and you leave with no debt to get the same education, we're scared to do it. Please, somebody make that make sense to me. You would rather take a debt and get into debt for a degree that won't guarantee you a job once you graduate. You're an ROTC. The government has paid for your education, and you have a job waiting for you upon graduation for the next 8 years. Make it make sense. He works for the power company here in Georgia. I'll tell him what I know. He's still trying. Maybe he has appealed. Yes, tell him to keep appealing. And then if push comes to shove, Laverne, have him get a military-friendly lawyer and let them take it from there. And also, if he's got a back injury, have him look at the other injuries too. Because while he's waiting on the back injury, he can get disability from other injuries as well. So Anita says, I'll definitely look into it. I appreciate the added information. Uptight says, don't forget your airframe and power plant technician. Yes. And when I was in the military, there was a program that if you were a crew chief, they helped you get your A&P license. I have my A&P license. I don't use it, but I have it. It's something in my toolbox if I need it. But the military doesn't do anything for you. I come from the hood. I don't have jack shit. So I'm just going to stay here and have jack shit, right? Expat says, I was a window clerk at the post office making good money and benefits. Out of 40 people, I was the only vet and I got the job. Yeah, you get veterans preference. Laverne says, thank you, Donovan. I appreciate you for the education. No, we're having this great conversation. And that's what I'm saying. We got to have these conversations because we don't know. The people that know, and the people that don't know, they don't know. I was getting an extra $3,000 a month just to go back to school on vocational rehab for 4 years. Exactly. Exactly. But again, the military is the white man's thing. But even though I live in a white man's country and I'm in a white man's system, I am not supposed to use the white man's tools to better myself. Yeah. And you don't have to be 100% to use the voc rehab. I think it's like 30%. 30% is the magic number. I believe it's 30%. I believe. But you don't necessarily have to be 30%, depending on what's going on. But 30% is usually the number. So what I heard is I need to marry a man with military benefits. Yes. Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Do you realize a 100% disabled military person gets his ID card back and his spouse gets the ID card back and you can travel anywhere in the continental United States, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and Alaska. Anywhere there's an American territory, Guam, all of that. Each one, teach one, exactly. So anyway, you guys, I don't want to take up too much of your time. It's been about an hour, but again, we're seeing a lot of stuff happening right in our faces and we're just not believing it. This conversation we had about the veterans and stuff, it's happening right now. The Asians are doing it. The Hispanics are doing it. We're not doing it. We need to delineate. We need to pass on better information to the next generation because they're not going to make it. Let's just be real. The next generation cannot and will not be able to afford homes. It's just that cut and dry. It's going to take 10 to 15 years to save up for a down payment for a home. How many young people have that kind of time? Think about the equity you've lost in waiting 15 years to save up for a down payment. We're not even talking about the taxes and the closeout costs and everything else that comes with home ownership. See, they don't think about that. Then you got to maintain the house. We got to do better, y'all. We got to do better. But I'm going to, I do really like this YouTube aspect. I'm going to start to get on here a little bit more and share information with you. Again, the military is not for everybody. Good night, Laverne. Good to chat with you. It's not for everybody, but when you ain't got jack shit, what else is there? I've never heard of a gang giving you a pension for your years of service to the neighborhood, of destroying the neighborhood. I've never heard of that. I mean, are the gangs putting money on your books while you're in jail? Are they doing any of that stuff? Something to think about. But I'm damn sure going to tell my nephews and nieces before they mess up their life, hey, go do this now. Knock it out now. You could smoke weed after you get out. Take your little VA check. A married VA person, or let's just say a single VA person on 100%, that's $4,000 tax-free. Tax-free. Some people are working 60 hours a week. They don't make $4,000 in a month. You got veterans out here that are making $4,000 in their sleep because they served in the military and they had a few injuries. Tax-free. I don't know how else they're going to make it, but somebody's got to defend this country. And when you defend this country, just like in the movie Starship Troopers, there's levels of citizenship. I think there should be. To get full citizenship, to be able to vote, you should have some military service, like it was in our grandfather's day. Compulsory military service. Back then, they had to do 2 years. Men had to do 2 years of service. Mandatory. So anyway, you guys, just have a good night. Keep your eyes peeled. Pay attention to your city council and what they're building for you in your city. Attend city council. Watch city council on the TV, on your YouTube channel. Email your representative. Get it in the public record, how you feel about it. Know what is going on in your community. That gentrification that happened in LA, that wasn't a secret. That was real. But guess the Negroes did not know what was going on until it was too late. That's how we roll. We show up after the decisions are made. Donovan Saadiq, the recovering Democrat. I love this platform. I'm going to continue to get on here a little bit more. Don't forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app from the Google Play App Store. Join us for the Demetra K Show on Sundays and Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central. I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Demetra K Show. See you then.